versus the book.
That was Aaron Rodgers' thing. It's your quarterback in the first round.
Yeah.
It's a luxury pick. We don't have the luxury. We're trying to win right now. I'm in a window right now, and you're going to say, no, we're going to plan this for the future. With a guy who had 4 years, 4 seasons ended by injury. 4. Like, Michael Penix is a walking injury. Like, what are you doing taking him in the top 10?
The Bostonian versus the book.
And now you have to qualify in these majors. You got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness. And I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. Mm-hmm. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live. Prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
late
sort of
night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Live on SportsGrid, Game Time Decisions with you here on a Sunday morning. Kevin Walsh, plenty to get to over the next 2 hours. We'll talk to Coach James Young in a little while, get his thoughts on the NBA action. Western Conference Finals Game 3 last night, Eastern Conference Finals Game 3. We're going to check in with Brady Cannon around the PGA Tour's Charles Schwab Challenge that right now looks to be a two-man race between Davis Riley and Scotty Scheffler. Odds are close. Scores not so much. We'll explain in just a moment. We'll talk to Joe Madden, NHL postseason, Major League Baseball. Let's begin there and put a quick pick on the board for the people. Detroit and Toronto. Little Tigers, Blue Jays, 11:35 a.m. East Coast time, first pitch in Detroit. 8:30 in the morning if you're out west. Well, listen, you're not going to wake up and see an offensive onslaught here. I'm playing under 7.5s and 8s in the market. Of course, if I'm playing under, I'm looking to play it at an 8 at minus 115. We take a look at this matchup here. It's Casey Mize and it's Kikuchi. Kikuchi's been awesome for Toronto this year. There's been a few spots where I've attempted to fade him, and it's certainly not worked in my favor. And Casey Mize has been great for Detroit at home. A little bit of a pedigree pitcher. I just think through what people were expecting prospect-wise. So we know that there's a bit of a single-game ceiling in there for Casey Mize. And these offenses are not going to inspire a ton of confidence here coming off of a 3-run game. And I think we can see low-scoring baseball once again. So in a half hour, they'll throw the first pitch in Detroit, and we're going to look to bet under 8 runs in Mize Kikuchi here to start things off. I mentioned the Charles Schwab Challenge, and we'll expand on this a little bit, but I just want to make sure I set this stage. You have right now the favorite to win this tournament is Davis Riley at a plus 115 price. Scotty Scheffler, right behind him, is plus 120. They all are 1 and 2 in the current leaderboard, but not at the same exact numbers. What do I mean? Davis Riley is 14 under. Scotty Scheffler is 10 under. I mean, that is a huge gap. It really is. I mean, if you want to just get an idea, behind Scotty Scheffler is Pearson Cody and Hayden Buckley at 30-1. Those guys are 5 back. So basically what you have right now is a only Scotty Scheffler price. Rory, Rahm at his best. You can throw the names out there. Xander. If this was Morikawa in this field, they would be the second choice, but they would maybe be 8, 7-1. I mean, 4 back. 4 back on a guy of Davis Riley who's been incredible, and I'm very likely going to bet him to win this tournament. I would love to check in with Brady Cannon, which we will do in a moment. Let's talk some conference finals here, and I think it is appropriate that we just go straight to game number 3 out west. We have plenty of time to talk about what we saw last night in Indiana, but this is a huge game here between the Mavericks and the Timberwolves. NBA history tells us that if Dallas wins, our NBA Finals matchup is set in Boston and Dallas. The Mavs trying to take a 3-0 series lead. No team in league history has ever blown a 3-0 series lead. It is interesting, though, because as we've gotten closer to this game, the Minnesota numbers continue to drop. Percentage of spread bets, according to the FanDuel Sportsbook, 64% on Minnesota. 3.5 down to 3, now sitting at 2.5. And I think that what we have here is a situation very similar to game number 2, where people were betting Minnesota because, well, Minnesota can't lose. Well, people were just burned on this same idea. Game 1, 4.5, 4-point spread. Dallas with an advantage coming off of not a Game 7 compared to Minnesota, and they took advantage and they win that basketball game. But Game 2 was the Minnesota bounce-back spot, and those 4s became 6.5s. People kept clicking. I think the game number 2 line opened up at maybe 4.5. So it moved up a full 2 points. Now here we are back in Dallas, and people are saying, well, Minnesota's not going to go down 0-3. I can't get there to the spread. I'm starting to believe more and more that Dallas is going to win this game. Yet you will find my action starting with a Timberwolves team total over 102.5. That's because I trust the Minnesota number more. I think Dallas has a higher ceiling offensively in this game, but I think there's a chance it plays under. And that's why I don't want anything to do with full game side, full game total. Dallas could give you 115, 120 in this game. I fully believe that. This team has not had a hot shooting night really yet, I feel, from the three-point line. And we know, more importantly, that the three-point efficiency can step up when you return home. They made 6 threes in game number 1. 3 of those belong to Luka. They made 12 threes in game 2. 9 of the 12 belong to Luka and Kyrie. So if you get PJ, Derek Jones, Josh Green, you're getting a little bit of Hardy. If you get those side players to combine for 7 threes, which might sound like a lot until PJ hits 4 or 5, the Dallas offense could hit a huge number tonight. But Minnesota is still a defense-first basketball team. And if they're able to get a bad game out of Luka, which they've not been able to do in any of the 4 games they've played against him so far this season, but if they are, then they could keep Dallas within that 100 to 95 range. Minnesota, though, again, should be able to get to 102.5 regardless. If Dallas is shooting the lights out, I think the defense could lack up a bit and get Minnesota through a small number. If Minnesota's going to win this basketball game, I think they'll still need 105 or so points to win to get to that number. They've gone over the 102.5 so far in each of the first 2 games, scoring 105 and 108 in the losses. And their superstars have not played great. In fact, they've played poorly in Karl Anthony Towns and, of course, Anthony Edwards. And I've talked a lot about the Ant struggles. They're real. They're obvious. They're undeniable. I don't think Anthony Edwards has enough juice in the tank to give you a great series. I would be pretty disappointed if Anthony Edwards can't give you one great game, though. That would be pretty inexcusable. I'm not saying that would erase all the good he's built up over this postseason, but You can't close out a playoff on a 6-7 game run of 35% shooting and no, you got to be able to touch 30 again if you're Ant. I thought about just playing as 26.5, but I wanted to bring the whole party in here because the team total on the road, these playoffs for Minnesota is 5-1 to the over. So we'll look for their offense to get over that 102.5. I'm also going to look for Jaden McDaniels swipe at -175. I know the -175 juice again for some. You go, what are we doing there? What we're doing is we're looking to put a win on the board and betting something that should have stronger juice. Jaden McDaniels has a steal in 10 out of 13 playoff games. Enough said. Jaden McDaniels is this, but if you bet 175 every game on McDaniels' steal this postseason, you're up a lot. He's coming off of a game where he didn't have a steal. He's not had consecutive games without one. He's constantly guarding the ball. Constantly. In Luka Doncic. The opportunities are there. Jaden McDaniels gets a swipe. I do think his 9.5 points prop is a bit interesting. I don't mind if you want to play that. I am interested in some P.J. Washington numbers, but we did not have a full board this morning. Perhaps his player combos, I'll keep eyes on it. That's come up now around 19.5. That's a tempting number for me. And perhaps something that we will be playing and laying in a little bit. We're going to hit a break, though. And when we come back, I want to get right into this Pacers-Celtics series and what we take away from a Boston comeback on the road. That's next.
Missed call the entire game, whether it's a charge or a block or a deflection that was wrong or a foul that should have been called that wasn't called or vice versa. Give me a 48-minute report. And people that will understand that there's so many mistakes that the referees make over the course of the game that referees, ready folks, don't decide the outcome.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer, too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offense and defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal. Only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for, so I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid Sunday morning. Saturday night, we saw Celtics Pacers and a 3-0 series lead now for Boston. 114-111. Pacers cover, no Tyrese Halliburton. And the Celtics are I think, becoming one of the more nuanced, necessary teams that I can remember. Celtics fans, specifically, are livid that they are never given credit for their wins. It's either, wow, they're so dumb, how'd they lose? Or, wow, they're so dumb, why is it close? Or, they beat a team without a pulse. And I understand why that would be frustrating. If you want me to handle the credit part of this, okay, we'll get that out of the way. The Celtics in the second half were defensively fantastic. It felt like they contested everything. Did a great job closing out possessions on the defensive glass. Jason Tatum was phenomenal. Finally got the three-point shot working at a high level, 5+ for the first time all postseason. Chipped in not just the 36 points, but 10 boards, 8 assists. One of those assists being one of the best playoff passes I've ever seen. Pump drive behind the back, bounce pass to Al in the corner. Phenomenal. Drew Holiday with the steal. Was it a foul? Who cares? Andrew Nembhard's dribbling out of control. He's not going to get that benefit of the doubt. They won this game with Derek White playing poorly. Kristaps Porzingis hasn't played since Miami. Boston is very good. Have we handled that now for people? Boston's very good. They've been very good. They finished 14 games up the next closest team in the East. And yet we sit here with a Boston Celtics team who's a win away from going to the NBA Finals, feeling unmoved. Like they're... And why is that? Just not really Boston's fault. It's Boston has played 3 series where the opponent's best player hasn't been out there. That's not the Celtics' fault. But we can't ignore that when we're grading how impressive this is. I mean, an 18-point comeback on the road is great. Why the hell were you down 18, Andrew Nembhard? Oh, well, and I mean, it happens, but I don't really want to run to the praise circle because you let Andrew Nembhard go wild. I'm not really. But again, yes, they stepped up. But this is every single series. That's the problem with the Celtics. Against Miami, no Jimmy Butler. There's nothing else to be said. It completely changes everything about Miami. How serious we take them or not. We all knew that series was a wash when Jimmy was gone. We just did. It would have been a real challenge had they played Miami. Instead, it was nothing. Then they played Cleveland. And I felt that the Cavs could give them a legitimate challenge. Donovan Mitchell, an all-star this year. Garland and Jared Allen had made all-star teams within the last 3 years. And Evan Mobley, of the 4 of them, people think might have the highest ceiling. Well, Jared Allen didn't play a minute in the series, and after Game 3, Donovan Mitchell was on ice. What do you want me to do with that? You want me to heap praise on Boston for that series? How? Why? That would be a mistake to do. Now here we are against the Pacers. Game 1. The Pacers should have won the game. They didn't. It's on them a lot more than it's credit Boston. Jaylen Brown made a shot. They still had a chance to win it in overtime, Indiana. They didn't. The Celtics iced them. Great job. Pacers handed you one. In Game 2, same story. Where's Halliburton? Leaves in the third quarter. Rick Carlisle pulled all the starters for the full fourth. We get to Game 3, no Tyrese. And it's funny, there were probably people watching the first half ready to get off some spicy Halliburton takes. And I hope you didn't, because they all would have gone up in flames by the time the game ended. Scored 42 points in the second half. You think that happens if Tyrese Halliburton's out there? No, certainly not. The Pacers now just became the first team to lose multiple games in a series after leading by at least 5 points in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter in the last 25 years. Basically, nobody blows 2 games like that in the same series, and the Indiana Pacers have done it in 2 of the 3 games of the series. And oh, by the way, their best player in the series has missed as much time as he has played. So why is this all relevant? Because we're assuming it'll be Dallas in the conference finals. Maybe Minnesota pulls off the miracle. But Boston's not only toughest test will be in the NBA Finals, but it is reasonable and I believe accurate to suggest their first test will be in the NBA Finals. The gap between Dallas and Minnesota and Miami without Jimmy, Cleveland without Donovan, and Indiana without Tyrese is monstrous. It is incomprehensible. Those are three non-playoff teams Boston has moved past. Sorry, Indiana, we know the series is done. Come on, you're not going to become the first team to come back from 3-0. If you do, cool. I mean, Old Takes exposed me, and who cares? 700 to 1 to win the title. We're good here. That becomes the issue with Boston, who sit at minus 230 to win this title. And it's why I've realized I can't bet the Celtics. Because all of the stuff from the past that has left me with questions around them and has ultimately seen them come up short, they haven't answered. They haven't really been given the opportunity to, but it means the questions are still on the board. And it's why when those finals get set, I likely will show up here at this desk and tell you, give me the West. We'll hit the rest of the card next.
Missed call the entire game, whether it's a charge or a block or a deflection that was wrong or a foul that should have been called that wasn't called or vice versa. Give me a 48-minute report. And people that will understand that there's so many mistakes that the referees make over the course of the game that referees, ready folks, don't decide the outcome.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer, too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offensive defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships.
Mm-hmm.
So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid. I'm Kevin Walsh. It's a Sunday, and it is a Sunday at the Charles Schwab. And what we have is it the most fascinating odds board on a Sunday yet? Probably not, but, man, it's fascinating. I want to do my best to try and put this into perspective. I know it'll be a little difficult to really do, but what you have right now is Davis Riley and Scottie Scheffler each at plus 120. And there's a 4-shot lead right now that separates Riley and Scottie Scheffler. Yet they're both plus 120. The guys that are 4 shots back, 4 back of Scotty, 6 under. Morikawa, Sungjae Im, Tway, Bradley. You try and look at their odds. Morikawa, 45-1. Im, 100-1. Bradley, 100-1. Tway, 250-1. Now, those golfers are not 4 back of winning the tournament. They're 8 back of Davis Riley. But just to give you an idea that those golfers are the same amount back as the favorite to win the tournament, Scotty, as Scotty is of the other co-favorite to win this tournament. 4-shot lead. Scotty went 72, 65, 63. So what are we expecting from Scotty Scheffler today? 67.5 is the round score prop. Minus 125 juice to the over. So let's just say the juice ends up correct and he plays over. That would be a 68. We're at a par 70. So that would be 2 under. So that would get Scotty to 12. Davis Riley has an over-under of 71.5. Minus 115 juice towards the over. Now, it's a little bit less juice, but that would be him playing the day 2 over. And then they'd be both at 12. Now, that is, of course, why this looks this way. But basically, when you kind of work through those numbers, the conclusion I get to is in order for Scotty to win this tournament, Davis Riley has to play the day over. And Scotty still has to handle his business. So would I rather bet Davis Riley under 71.5 or Davis Riley plus 120 to win this tournament? I'd rather bet him at plus 120 to win this tournament. I think a 4-shot lead in this price is just remarkable. And I think, and this could be a swing and a miss here out of me, but Scotty yesterday was 3rd in the field in strokes gained putting. Now, perhaps Scotty carries that hot putter into today. But basically, if we regress whatsoever in that category, then Scheffler will be, I think, unable to make up this lead. And again, what's so funny is it's pretty hard to see anyone else actually coming in here and breaking through. The rest of the field is 5 back with Pearson and Hayden, Pearson, Cootie, and Hayden Buckley. And then you got your Morikawas, your Finaus. They're just not really in the mix. So I think I'm going to play Davis Riley here to win this tournament. An NHL bet for everyone here with the Panthers and the Rangers. And we're going to expand on this in just a couple of moments with Joe Madden. Igor Shesterkin for 20-plus saves in each game of this series is minus 215. I know that, again, people hear minus 215. I cannot do that. He's 2 for 2 so far in this series. Obviously, otherwise the bet wouldn't be there. He has hit this in every single playoff game so far. We look back in the regular season, he had 20-plus saves in 47 of 55. That's 85.5%. Implied probability minus 590. And opposing goaltenders against this Florida team have 20-plus saves in all but one instance in which Swayman had 19 for Boston and was benched. Backup came in and got you enough saves over the number. So the only world where Igor doesn't get 20 is he's benched. They're not benching Igor. 20-plus saves at minus 215. You put it, series is done, money's back in the account. We'll check, though. Maybe Joe Madden disagrees. That's all next. We're live with you right here, and we're making it happen. And do not forget, quick pick style. First pitch in 15, not even in 5. Detroit, Toronto, under the 8. We'll be right back here. It's Game Time Decisions.
whether it's a charge or a block or a deflection that was wrong or a foul that should have been called that wasn't called or vice versa. Give me a 48-minute report. And people that will understand that there's so many mistakes that the referees make over the course of the game that referees, ready folks, don't decide the outcome.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the light.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offense and defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
We're live on SportsGrid here with you. It is a Sunday morning. Joe Madden stopping by. Joe, I figure we start baseball since it's a full board, and also the Blue Jays play in 2 minutes. How are you?
I'm doing good. Do we really have to talk about this Blue Jays team? They disappoint people left, right, and center, Kevin. Come on. Kikuchi getting the start. He should come out strong, but will he? What do you think?
I hope so, because I'm playing under 8. In Toronto and Detroit here to start off this baseball card. You got to appreciate. Oh, should we Nerfy? What's the price? Now the people are talking. What's the price here? How do we find it quickly?
I would like the Nerfy because looking at this matchup here, it's a bullpen I don't trust for Toronto. So if we're able to hit the Nerfy in this one before they start, I think it is a great way to go. That Nerfy coming in at -115, Kevin. I like the Nerf.
Yeah, you know what?
Casey getting the start?
It'll be decided while we're basically within the segment. So why not? I found a -110. We'll go with a little Nerfy here. Toronto, Detroit. I mean, it correlates with having the under. Joe, where does the baseball card begin for you? This noon game here between the Dodgers and the Reds.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Looking at this matchup today, Yamamoto getting the start here for the Dodgers. He should be able to get them the win here. We've seen the Dodgers being struggling, and I'm so glad I went against them yesterday, looking at the Cincinnati Reds to be able to get it done again. But I do think this is a bounce back for the Dodgers. Being held to only 1 run yesterday, I'm looking for them to come out strong offensively. We know this team has the lineup here. So the Reds, they're going to Sutter. This is more of a bullpen game for the Reds in this one, and I expect this one to go over that total. Now, that total coming in at 8.5 at -118 to the over. But I'm also going to look at Yamamoto here for his strikeouts. Now, that number is high at 6.5, but you're getting plus money at +122 to the over in this one. We normally see his strikeout prop coming in at 5.5. But he was able to go over 6.5 in the last one out versus the Diamondbacks. And I do think it's going to be his day here versus the Reds. He's so phenomenally strong on the road, 3-0 on the road with a 1.59 ERA, Kevin. And he's got 26 strikeouts in 22 innings pitched on the road. So let's have a big day for Yamamoto and the Dodgers.
Yeah, he's been awesome. And I know he started a little slow. His chances to win, an NL Cy Young or even just maybe the NL Rookie of the Year, it does hinge, though, on Imanaga falling back because Shota Minaga's just been so excellent, and that's kind of been what's getting in the way, I feel, of Yamamoto getting a ton of credit for what's really been a great start for his career as well. So, by the way, we are now on this nerfy here for Detroit-Toronto, which now makes it the most important game on the baseball board until the next game, that is. What do we got next here, Joe? Little Nationals-Mariners?
Absolutely.
You trust Washington today?
Well, you know what? Looking at yesterday's slate, the Dogs were barking yesterday, and the Dogs took so many wins. Patrick Corbin has high numbers on the season. That ERA is above 6. He's 1-5. But when you look at him versus the Seattle Mariners, he's actually been strong in his career, 2-0 with a 0.69 ERA. But he's facing against Brian Wu here. If it wasn't Brian Wu up for the Seattle Mariners, I'd be all over the Nationals in this one because Seattle's been having those struggles out there. I'm going to look at the first 5. I really do think we have the opportunity of going under 4.5 in the first 5. That's coming in at -102. I know a lot of people are expecting a lot of runs to come in this one because of Patrick Corbin's numbers, but I'm expecting him to show what he can do against the Seattle Mariners here. So the first 5, under 4.5 at -102 for me, Kevin.
All right, playing an under early on in Washington against the Mariners. Joe, what about Chris Sale as he goes on the mound here for a Braves team that kind of reeling a little bit? At one point, this team was having their standard excellent open to a year, 7 back of this Phillies team in the division, barely 500 on the road, and now they're going against Pittsburgh here, trying to avoid a sweep.
Yeah, Pittsburgh with that big win yesterday, too, 4-1, really limiting the bats here of the Atlanta Braves. This is a team that we know has strong bats out here, but they've been struggling. Now, Chris Sale should give them every opportunity. He comes out so phenomenally strong. You're looking at his strikeouts, and he's been phenomenally hot on the season, Kevin. He already has 70 strikeouts in 56 and 1/3 innings pitched, and I've got to look at ulting up his strikeouts again today. Now, you can take him over 7.5 strikeouts. You're going to lay the juice at -122. I have put a full unit on that, but I put another half unit on Chris Sale for 9+ strikeouts. That's coming in at +158. The last time he went below 9 strikeouts was back on April 26, 4 outings ago, and I do think we're going to get that strength out of Chris Sale. Now, even if we get that strength because of the struggles offensively here of the Atlanta Braves, I could see the Pittsburgh Pirates getting the win here again today. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of money. The more and more I look at this game, I think with Perez getting the start for them, this is going to be a pitcher's duel. And while he doesn't have great numbers, I'm expecting a lot out of this Pirates team today. So give me Chris Sale for his strikeouts for the best bet, but there is going to be a sprinkle on the Pirates. I think the Dogs are barking again today, Kevin.
Yeah, I think sometimes we get into these spots where you look at the price for Atlanta, and look, it's always going to be strong. It's the Braves. Chris Sale's been incredible to start the year. I think some of the prices, they're not going to get swept. And you only need to be able to fade those, a few times accordingly and make some money off of it. And, Joe, there's a similar situation when we take a look at the Yankees and the Padres. Now, the difference is it's the Yankees going for the sweep there, and this team has been unbelievable. They really have. I'm curious, what do you think of their matchup with San Diego later on tonight?
Yeah, I think the Yankees can absolutely get the sweep today. I would lay the juice on them here. I'm looking at the Nerfy in this one. I absolutely love it. This pitching matchup, I think, is phenomenally strong. Joe Musgrove, we know he's been lit up overall on the season, but you look at him in day games, and this is what I'm looking at for this Nerfy in day games here. So this is a 4:10 Eastern in San Diego. This is going to be an early afternoon game. He's got a 2.84 ERA. He's been able to go 19 innings and get 19 strikeouts. I do think Joe Musgrove can do enough for us in the first inning here for us to cash that Nerfy, with Clark Schmidt getting the start here for the Yankees. He's been nice and strong, especially this month, 3-1 this month with a 1.82 ERA. So I'm looking for Clark Schmidt to come out strong, Joe Musgrove to come out strong, at least for that first inning. But then I do think the Yankees are able to hit off of him and off of the Padres bullpen. We do have 2 strong bullpens on either side, but when I look at which bullpen I have the most strength in or most faith in, it is the Yankees here. So I'm looking at the Yankees. I'm looking at the Nerfy. And then I'm going to take the under 8 because I don't see a lot of runs in this one, Kevin. I think this is a 3-1 style game.
Speaking of Nerfy, halfway home, Toronto, not 3 up, 3 down. Vladdy did get a base hit But Bo Bichette grounds out on the bottom of the first. We love to see it. Joe, let's finish out this baseball board with a trip to Coors, which last night, my man Bryce Harper hooked it up big time with that ninth inning home run. What are you looking for here in the closeout game between Colorado and Philly?
Ranger Suarez getting the start here for the Phillies and Cal Quantrill for the Rockies. I'm going to look here at the Phillies team total to the over. You're going to have to lay the juice on the over 5.5 at -130, but I do think the Phillies are able to get on the board today. Cal Quantrill is 1-2 at home with a 3.91 ERA. This is Coors Field, and after this one turns over to the bullpen, I'm expecting those runs to come for the Phillies. I'd be shocked if they didn't get 7 runs in this one today, Kevin, out there.
All right, so looking for a little bit of juice. Look, it's been some year to start things out for the Philadelphia Phillies. It's something that I know myself and Donnie Rightside have talked a lot about on the radio side of things, but they have finally flipped to favorites for this division, -130. There's going to come a point where you're going to look at that -130 number and be like, wow, why didn't we jump? 7 up on Atlanta. Team, the roster checks every single box. The Philadelphia Phillies are going to win the NL East. Let's talk hockey. It's next. It's Igor's day. Possibly. We'll break it down in Florida. Panthers, Rangers. Keep it right here. It's Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh joined by Joe Madden on SportsGrid.
Missed call the entire game, whether it's a charge or a block or a deflection that was wrong or a foul that should have been called that wasn't called or vice versa. Give me a 48-minute report. And people that will understand that there's so many mistakes that the referees make over the course of the game that referees, ready folks, don't decide the outcome.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer, too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offensive defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
Leadoff knock, Matt Vierling. Panic at the Disco, panic in Detroit. I don't love it. But we got a lot of time left. Let's talk hockey. Joe Madden's here. Joe, let's start with Moneyline if you're interested, because we've got a Rangers plus 130, which might be the biggest number we've seen on the Rangers all playoffs long. I'm curious what you think of the number.
The number is right for the New York Rangers. I love it. The value is all there. I've got to get there, Kevin. I keep going back and forth if I'm going to hit the New York Rangers at plus 130. I think the price is just too good for us to look past this team. This is a team that was able to win game 2. In game 1, Igor came out that little bit shaky, even though he was still phenomenally strong, and the Panthers just hit so hard. I do expect this to be a tight battle. So at plus 130, I think I got to take the Rangers straight up on the money line.
Yeah, I think it's a tempting number. I feel, though, Joe, and I don't know how you feel the Rangers match up with the West, but at the moment this team is around plus 400 to win the Stanley Cup. And if the Rangers just take one of the two in Florida, they do regain home ice. I think the Panthers are a tough matchup. But I'm curious how you feel, because I don't know if we've really gotten into this yet, how the Rangers would match up next round, either Edmonton or Dallas.
I think the New York Rangers have every ability, or the Florida Panthers, to come out of this round, whichever team does, and beat the Western Conference final champions between the Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers. I do think the Eastern Conference is the stronger of the two opponents, and the New York Rangers, with their goaltending here with Igor Shesterkin, have every ability to take the Stanley Cup. So Kevin, at plus 400 for the New York Rangers, I think there is so much value, because if they can beat the Florida Panthers, I can see them being able to take it. Now, it won't be an easy battle, especially if it's versus the Dallas Stars, which I expect it to be. I expect that series to go nice and deep all the way to 6. I don't think it goes to 7, but I think the Rangers can take the Dallas Stars. You look at the Rangers do have the depth that the Dallas Stars have as well. That goaltending battle is going to be absolutely elite if it comes down to those two. And if it comes down to the Edmonton Oilers at the end of the day, they have the goaltending advantage. And I do think with the speed that we see out of the New York Rangers, they can compete with the Edmonton Oilers as well.
Interesting. So, Joe, what are you looking at for the props in this game here? Anything really stand out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at Igor Shesterkin. I really do think those shots will be coming on him from the Florida Panthers. With the Florida Panthers at home here, that offense is just going to be flying out there on the ice. And we know their defense is phenomenally strong, which is why I'm staying away from Bobrovsky's save shots on goal prop. His number coming in at 23.5 at minus 106. It's low, but I do see a storyline where the Panthers really do limit those shots on him. But for the New York Rangers, they are allowing these shots on Igor Shesterkin. They know that he can save them. There's not as many block shots, but both of these teams have been getting a ton of block shots. But Igor's number 28.5 at minus 122 to the over. I'm in on all day in this one. Now, I do think we look at the under 5.5 in this game. Now, it's juicy to the under 5.5, but I expect both of these teams to lock down on the defensive side. When we look at these teams for those block shots, they combined for 49 block shots in game 2 and 38 in game 1. So I think that under is a very strong play. But I do think there's a couple players, if you want to play some goal scorers, it's risky because we got a lower scoring one. But I do think a couple players are due. And I hate using the word due, but I do expect Sam Reinhart. He's been so phenomenally strong for the Florida Panthers, and he's been so quiet in the playoffs here to really come alive in this game here at home. He had 57 regular season goals, and in the playoffs here, he's only had 2. So for his anytime goal, it's coming in at plus 150. It's not the best odds, but I do think it's because he's going to be so phenomenally strong. The power play hasn't been clicking for either of these teams, as the kill has been strong. We've seen the Florida Panthers click once, but I do look at Sam Reinhart on that power play is where he has his greatest strength. And then looking at the New York Rangers, it's Adam Fox. Adam Fox has been so phenomenally strong. He has been held scoreless in the postseason here, and I do think it's his time. He really steps up. He's an offensive defenseman, and the value you're getting for Adam Fox, a Norris Trophy winner as well, Kevin, he's at plus 650 to be able to get that anytime goal. For me, it's worth a shot. I'll play him today. If it doesn't hit today, I'll play him in the next game and in the next, because I do think in this series, Adam Fox is going to find the back of the net and light the lamp. He's just too phenomenally strong to be scoreless still in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting spot, Joe. When you get a price like that, you can continue to play it. I want to actually, though, go from first and third, 2 outs. I want to go from big plus money to some juicier. I placed an Igor bet at minus 215 that I think should be significantly higher, and I'm curious what you make of this. Igor for 20-plus saves in each game of the series is minus 215. When I looked into this, he's obviously so far 2 for 2. In every game against Florida this year, postseason, regular season, it's 25 or more. In the regular season, he had over 85% of his games with 20-plus saves. And most importantly, every opponent for Florida has had to save 20 or more shots against this Panthers team. The worry, and I don't really think this is a worry, would be Igor getting benched in a crazy game where the Panthers can put up 5 and they pull him. So, Joe, I know it's minus 215, but I would argue there's still value on that number.
Yeah, there is still value on that because you're right. Igor is going to face at least that many shots. The Florida Panthers offensively are a team that can really step up and get those shots on him. And you said all the trends. It's a number where the Florida Panthers have been able to get those shots. And I don't see the New York Rangers changing defensively where they're going to get a ton more block shots. They trust in Igor Shesterkin to make those big saves. And he's been phenomenally strong. I don't see him being benched, Kevin. The only way I see that bet not cashing is if Igor Shesterkin gets hurt. Now, we had almost that issue last night with Jake Ottinger, with the Dallas Stars not being aggressive in front of their own net, protecting him, not starting those fights with the Oilers. We did see Jake Ottinger get ran into a couple times out there. There was at one point I thought he was going to get hurt. So as long as Igor Shesterkin doesn't get hurt, I think he's fine. I've also got overtime in this game tonight at plus 330, Kevin.
Look at that. Again, just to balance out my minus 215 hockey sizzle, Joe Madden with plus 330s and plus 650s. And a nerfy win. How about that? Thank you, Joe. Enjoy the Sunday. We'll be right back. It's Game Time Decisions. Come on.
Missed call the entire game, whether it's a charge or a block or a deflection that was wrong or a foul that should have been called that wasn't called or vice versa. Give me a 48-minute report. And people that will understand that there's so many mistakes that the referees make over the course of the game that referees, ready folks, don't decide the outcome.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
How fragile are these guys? It's amazing. They're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world, and yet they can't walk and chew gum at the same time without getting hurt, for goodness sakes.
That Trout injury really is a bummer, too, because people thought he was going to have a big year. And I look, I don't feel bad for the Angels. I don't like Mike Trout in Anaheim. I thought he should have left when his contract was up.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
With the onset of NIL and the transfer portal, it is allowing players to develop further in college, and guys that would maybe be stuck on the bench at a power program and not have as much shine are having the ability to find themselves in the spotlight.
Lane Kiffin came out and said we need to get bigger and more physical in terms of the offensive defensive lines, and that's why he went out and recruited that talent.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for. So I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
I'm just letting people know. Joe Madden just made us millions of dollars, essentially, with the Nerfy. Just letting people know, hey, some extra money now. Listen, you got to love that. You got to love a hot start. What more do you want than a hot start to the baseball board with a little Nerfy there? And I'm on the under in that game. and it was a close call. Kikuchi was not great to open it up. Let's talk through your baseball board a little bit. Now, again, if you're with me here or really anywhere consistently, you know I like to get my eyes on lineups. That's not changed, but I've started to kind of go through these baseball boards a little differently, where I want to eyeball up your starting pitchers, your situation, right? I do think streaks are relevant locationally and prices. And then kind of list them out each game and see who jumps off the page. So I want to just kind of run through the baseball board, and I'll tell you what's jumped off the page to me early. Things could kind of be elevated throughout the day. Reds-Dodgers, you've got the Reds checking in right now at around plus 175. That team was good yesterday as they got the win against the Dodgers there with Hunter Green against Walker Buehler. People we trust are on Yamamoto, Joe Madden, group in the back. So do look towards Yamamoto, step-up style there. Braves-Pirates, Chris Sale, big favorite. I'd rather play Pittsburgh at that plus price. It depends how you like to bet your baseball. Are you a dog player? Do you kind of just trust, hey, listen, I'll hopefully win more of these than lose? Because plus 190 is not bad on a hot Pittsburgh team at home playing well right now. Boston minus 145 would lean their direction with Tanner Houck against the Brewers. Nationals against the Seattle Mariners, plus 145 Washington number. I know that's going to be tempting. I would actually look towards Seattle on the road here. It kind of, again, when you're betting baseball, if you're just betting baseball on money lines, it depends what you want to do, right? But let's just call that $100, right? If you're a $100 player, whether you're on the Mariners or the Nationals, it becomes, yes, you win more if you bet Washington. But for some people now, if you bet Seattle, it's, hey, listen, I'm not going to lose $172, right? That's kind of one of the things with betting. Am I going to bet 172 to win 100? Or am I going to bet 100 to win? What do you win here if you risk 100 on minus 172? 58-14. But listen, if you're now more willing to bet a favorite, right? At the end of the day, the Mariners are still supposed to win this game. The $100, the loss is the same. It's about the win. And that's kind of what you have to go through when you're dealing with those baseball money lines. I do think the Rays can get the job done against Kansas City, bust up that win streak. Taj Bradley, little bounce back after he got lit up by Boston. Mania Webb's very difficult. This Mets team has bettors in a blender right now. Hard. The way they're losing games, they're going to sell. I was talking with some Mets fans yesterday, just kind of in disbelief that they're going to end up losing Pete Alonso. And this is how it's going to happen. This team had a hot run at the back end of April where it looked like they might be able to put together a competitive season, and it's just completely fallen apart at 21-30 record now. Baltimore, Chicago. Similar to what I just talked about with the Mariners. Bradish has the edge here. I think the Orioles are a little tempting. Rangers starting pitcher today's a full question mark, and for stuff like that with me, I'd just erase that from the card. No look, no juice, no interest, quite frankly. I think, and again, but aren't the Phillies a little interesting? Minus 215 here, Ranger Suarez on the mound. I think the selling point against Ranger Suarez would be you're at Coors, and that kind of just can make everything a level playing field. When you're banking on a pitching advantage, Kyle Quantrill's been good this year for Colorado. Detmer goes for L.A. against the Guardians and Lively. Blanco here for Houston against Oakland. This bizarre Ryan Weathers stretch we have here now, where his last 15 innings have only seen him give up one earned run. It's 2 starts, by the way. I don't know what you make of that. Sell high, buy low. You're not getting a price that believes in that number. Interested in the Yanks against Musgrove here. Clark Schmidt's got the baseball. Minus 125 on the Yankees is not bad. I think that number's a little bit light based on the, can they sweep price? And then you've got Sonny Gray and Assad. St. Louis minus 140. Cardinals are starting to get booked stronger. St. Louis is starting to get some love here from the books. I don't know if that's the power of sweeping Baltimore, but they're starting to get love here. And because Assad's had himself a nice year. Cubbies are a better ball team, but also, all of a sudden, take a look. Not that much separating these teams. Just 2 back right now in that division. That's Sunday Night Baseball. We'll continue to let that baseball board come to us. But up next, we'll talk to Brady Cannon. Davis Riley, Scotty Scheffler, or someone else. We'll try and answer that question next right here on SportsGrid.